Bradford Nightstop is a charity that's been around since 1993. We provide emergency short-term accommodation to homeless young people, 16 to 25-year-olds, on a night-by-night basis. What we do is we take them in, give them shelter, give them warm meals, clothes, toiletries, anything else they might need. And then during the morning, we'll send them to Salvation Army or housing options, and they will try to find them something more long-term, whether it's like assisted accommodation or try and find them like a family member or friend that they can go stay with. And if they can't find anything during the day, then they'll be referred back to us and we'll look after them for another night. And we'll keep looking after them for as long as they need us until they find something more long-term.
I started homeless because me and my mum had an argument and she just couldn't take it, so she booked me out because of some incident that happened a few days before. Been through Salvation Army ever since.
Got kicked out from home. I spent all my money, like 4 weeks I was in a hotel, so I spent all my money. And then Safeguarding from Bradford College, they got me to a night stop for a couple of nights, and they helped me a lot, to be honest.
I've been homeless before. I know what they've gone through. I know a little bit of the feelings, how cold it gets, the emotional trauma it causes. Been in the hostels myself and how hard it is to get a property nowadays. That's why I ended up volunteering. I thought I'd give a little bit back to my community and to people of Bradford.
There's a lot of young people from 16 to 25 that have nowhere to go, just because they're the most vulnerable to be on the street, and it can be very difficult to get help. So as an organisation, I think we're vital in just being there as an objective third party that provides emergency accommodation but also provides help at the core to get their life started when they're still young and impressionable, and kind of stop that kind of homelessness then becoming their reality in the long run.
We've got 4 rooms. We've got 2 at the moment for young people and 2 for volunteers. We are thinking that because of safeguarding reasons, we don't have multiple young people in here because obviously we want to make sure that they're safe and they're not put with people that they feel uncomfortable with. So we mainly use this at the moment as a space for volunteers. For young people who have fled traumatic situations, I think it's really important that they've got their own space. I think the important thing is that they're safe here and that they're not on the street. In it, we've got everything that they need: toiletries, clothes, bedding, fresh towels. We get loads of clothes and toiletries and things donated to us from supermarkets, from charities. Just because they're homeless doesn't mean that they can't have their dignity. They deserve to be clean.
When it comes to some charities, you find out later that that's just not making the impact that you thought it would make. It's not actually making much of a difference, and sometimes you're doing more harm than good. And for this one is that you get to feel the impact. It might be a small impact that someone's opened up to you, you're talking, or you might find out this young person is back with their family, or they've got a place to live, or they've got a job, and it just makes you feel really happy because you know that person, or you can make a difference knowing that you know the charity that you're working with has housed this many people.
Just the other day, a lad who I'd helped is telling me that he's got married, he's got an house, got a job. I was surprised that he'd come up to me and thanked me for helping him and spending my time out just volunteering for it. Stuff like that made me do it even more. That thanks meant a little bit more than any other thank. Knowing that I made a change when I wash the clothes or jump in the shower, they come out as a different kind of person. You can tell the confidence is coming back a little bit. They're getting back to being the youth.
Personally, it feels like you find yourself a community because the volunteers at Bradford Nightstop are just very lovely and very welcoming and warm.
We'd heard about Bradford Nightstop a long time before we started volunteering. We had 2 teenage boys. We didn't have enough space at the time, but once the boys went off to university, we felt that having all this space in this house, knowing that there were young people potentially out on the streets, felt wrong to us, so we volunteered.
I've always been concerned about young people and housing. Of course, you can do lots of letter writing to MPs and go to local MP surgeries, but Nightstop is offering something very practical and very constructive, and it seemed like a very obvious thing to get involved in.
Although it sounds as if we're doing an awful lot, it's a very simple, easy thing that fits into our lifestyle. Somebody comes and stays the night, and then they go. So this is the room that we use for a young person that's staying on Nightstop. We have some pyjamas on the bed and a dressing gown.
We have spare bedding if they need it. We have spare clothes, toiletries, colouring books, word search.
I got along with all of them. Like, they all make sure I was sleeping well, eating, and as one of them, they had a cross word search, and they let me have the word search because I was the word search champion. I was just flying through it so quick.
The hosts have all been really nice. They've always welcomed me with a smile, handshake, always made sure I've eaten. If I haven't eaten, they make me some food without any sort of hesitation.
I say all the young people that have come to our home have been very respectful of our home. We explain things like we don't want anybody to smoke in the home, but all of them understand it and go outside to smoke, and just basic things like that.
Inevitably, they feel quite anxious, but when they come in and they get something to eat, we sit down, have a chat. It works usually really well.
Well, if people are scared, you can't tell them to unscare themselves, like telling people not to worry. But what you can say is that there's an awful lot of help and advice.
It's for me, if they leave the next morning knowing that they've had a good night's sleep and had a good meal and there's somewhere to send them off to, it's just that sense of playing a role.
It's always been really important. That's why it's been here for as long as it has. But I think the situation these days for lots of young people for very different reasons is harder. It's harder for them to find somewhere. So it's crucial that Nightstop's there and that we have as many volunteers as we can have.